Shalom, shalom, Yasha Allah, shalom to the Torah tribes, Yasha Allah, right? I like to give all honor, glory, and praise unto Yahweh Bahashem Mashak Wamalak Yahweh. That's all praises, honor, and glorification unto the Most High Yahweh in the name of His only begotten Son, Yahweh. This is your brother Yasha Allah, all right, coming back to y'all with yet another video through the Spirit and power Yahweh Bahashem Mahashiach Wamalak Yahweh. All right, so this is going into basically iniquity abounding on the earth. Right, let's get this in the book of Matthew chapter 24. I'm going to start at verse 7. Right, Matthew chapter 24 and verse 7. For nation shall rise against nation and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places. Right, so this is going into what? Some of the signs of the times. Right, because remember the disciples asked Yahweh, what are the signs of the times? Right, can you show us any signs that the end is coming? Right, or that we're in the last days? Right, remember, because the last days started around 2,000 years ago, right? So we've been in the last days, right? But these are really, really the last days because we can look at the signs that the Most High has written, right? Or has caused to be written in paper, and we can see it happening today, right? Like in verse 7, we see pestilence. Pestilence is disease. Famines, we see famines, right? Famine is a lack of food and water. Soon to come, there's going to be that famine of the word prophesied in Amos chapter 8 and verse 11 and 2nd Ezra chapter 5, right? And it says in earthquakes. There was just an earthquake, right? Basically a tsunami. We know that a tsunami, according to the scientists, is basically an earthquake in the ocean, the tectonic plates moving and shifting, causing the waves of the sea to move at a rapid pace or speed towards land masses, right? Like you had the tsunami in Japan in 2011, I believe, right? That was caused by the movement of the tectonic plates, if I'm not mistaken, right? It says, and earthquakes in diverse places, meaning everywhere, right? Verse 8, all these are the beginning of sorrows. Verse 9, then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted and shall kill you. So they're going to kill us, man, the servants of the Lord, right? That's prophesied everywhere in the scriptures, right? It says, and ye shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. Man, so the camps that's on the Southern Poverty Law Center, right? That's glorious in the eyes of the Most High. Us getting spit on, mocked, hated, that's glorious in our eyes and in the Most High's eyes, because Yahweh Shah said, look, they're going to kill you, they're going to hate you, right? For my name's sake, right? Verse 10, and then shall many be offended and shall betray one another and shall hate one another. This is already happening right now. Many are offending one another. You know, you have the curses on us as well. If you don't know about the curses, read Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter. You can read that whole chapter, but the curses are from verses 16 all the way to verse 68. These curses are still on us, still upon the so-called blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans to this day. And in verse 54, right, let's get this. Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 54, right, and it reads, it says, so that man that is tender among you and very delicate, his eye shall be evil toward his brother. So this is making a reference to the Israelite man. Before the curses was really upon us, we used to be cool with one another and loved each other as our own self, right? But now the Israelite men, their eye is evil toward his brother, right? That's already naturally in us, because that's a curse from the Most High. And toward the wife of his bosom. So he hates his wife as well, right? His women. And toward the remnant of his children, which he shall leave. So-called blacks have the highest occurrence of single-parent households, right? With the women raising the children, right? Oftentimes. So this is prophesied in Deuteronomy 28th chapter. And one of the curses I want to highlight is that what? We hate each other as people, as so-called blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans. We have an evil eye toward each other. So when we go back to Matthew chapter 24, right, in verse 10, and then shall many be offended and shall betray one another and shall hate one another, right? Verse 11, and many false prophets shall rise and shall deceive many. Christians, so-called Christians today, these are the false prophets that's prophesied to come. All right, verse 12, and many other people, right? But Christians are one of the most prominent false prophets, right? Verse 12, and because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. So iniquity is bounding on the earth right now. Let's look up that word abound, right? Abound, right? Be plentiful, be abundant, be numerous, right? Superabound, thrive, flourish. So iniquity is flourishing right now, right? Informal grow on trees, right? So literally, this iniquity is growing, right? Now, because let's take a look, right? When we go to Matthew chapter 23, right? In verse 2, it says, saying, the scribes and the Pharisees sit in Moses' seat. So if you don't know about the scribes and the Pharisees were basically sects of Israelites, right? Groups of Israelites that taught the law. That was their job, to teach the law, right? Now, back in the ancient world, when Yahweh Shah was roaming the earth, there were people keeping the commandments, right? There were people keeping the commandments. But now, they're not, right? Nobody's keeping the commandments right now, right? In fact, they teach against the commandments, which is something called antinomianism, which is lawlessness, right? But with that, I actually have to go, only have 5 minutes. With that, Lord willing, this was edifying. I didn't want to get all the stuff I wanted to get, but I gotta go right now. I gotta go to class. With that, I let it give all honor, glory, and praise unto Yahweh Bashma Mashak Yahweh Shah. Shalom.